So several months ago, I did a video about how to mix up keto food, following up one where I showed how to mix up Keto Chow. Since then, I've ditched both of those recipes. I'm doing what I call Keto Chow. It uses a lot of the same ingredients as Keto Chow, but it's ketogenic, so you can lose a lot of weight really quick. So I'm going to show how to mix up the powder for a week's worth of Keto Chow. So I'm going to be using a Dymatize 2-pound tub. Took the label off, but this will be our mixing container. I've got a scale that can do like 15 pounds. Actually, it's 15 kilos, but whatever. And I'm going to first start by weighing out the protein powder because that is by far the largest ingredient. It's like 80 or 90% of the total mass. So let's go ahead and get that going. I need 770 grams of the protein for a week because it's 110 a day. So let's get started on that. Today I'm mixing rich chocolate flavor. So I've got a 2/3 cup scoop here. Equals about 10 scoops, roughly. Okay, so that's 727 grams. Let's add a little bit more. 773 almost. Now the reason why you weigh all the ingredients instead of using just a measuring cup or volume is because they all have very different density. For instance, this rich chocolate it's about 10 to 20% denser than the vanilla. So if you were to just use a measuring cup, it would not work, at least as far as getting the measurements right. So, got the protein powder. The next largest ingredient is psyllium husk. I'm using the really big 20-pound bag because it costs less that way, but you can use smaller ones and it will work just fine, especially if you're just starting out and getting going. I've got my smaller scale now. It'll do 1 kilogram and it goes down to 1/10 of a gram. So it's pretty accurate, especially when you are doing a week at a time. So everything's multiplied by 7. So in this case, I need 112 grams of psyllium husk. Helps if I turn on the scale. Okay. Too much. Use 112. That was great. And there we go, 112. And hang on while I clean up my mess. Okay, just going to stick that into here with the rest of it. Okay, so I've just added the psyllium husk to the rest of the mixture. Now, I normally start with the things that are, I guess, stickiest first, and then I can go along cleaning out my bowl. The calcium magnesium D3 gets over everything. It's just, it like clings to glass and everything else. So I'm going to put that on first and use the rest of my ingredients to clean the bowl out. So I need 35 grams of this stuff. Ooh, almost there. Almost there. There we go. Okay, so 35 grams. Look, my bowl's a mess now. Okay, and next, Xanthan Gum. Thickens things up, makes the mouth feel a lot better. This also gets over everything, and I need 10.5 grams of this. Almost there. Alright, 10.5. That also gets everywhere, sticks to the bowl. Now we've got calcium phosphate. It's apparently all about the calcium. Well, it's not, but you know. And I need 14 grams of this stuff. Perfect. Hey, look, my bowl's getting a little cleaner now. And next, I'm going to do choline bitartrate. Still don't know how to pronounce that one. I need 14 grams of this one as well. And I'm using the big giant container of it, but you can get smaller ones if you're starting out. This one will last like a month and a half if it's a full kilogram. Okay, stick that in there. Now I'm going to do potassium citrate. I seem to burn through this stuff like crazy. I need 42 grams of potassium citrate for a week. Ooh, close. And last two things is salt. When you're on a ketogenic diet, you burn through electrolytes pretty quickly, and if you don't get enough electrolytes, it makes you feel like you have a flu. They usually call it the keto flu. A really good way to get around that is to get enough electrolytes. So Keto Chow has, well, more than enough. So you don't really have to worry about the keto flu as long as you're doing everything right. But some people do report that they think Keto Chow is pretty salty. And yeah, it kind of is. I mean, it's got enough, I guess, sweet-ish stuff from the protein powder that it's not really too bad, and you get used to it pretty quick, and you actually start to like it as your body adjusts to needing more and more electrolytes because you're in ketosis. But when you first start out and you taste it, you're kind of like, whoa, that's salty. But it's because of all the salt. You need it. So, in addition to the salt, need to do 7 of these vitamin K pills, and that's so that your blood clots properly and you don't become hemophiliac, because that would be a bit bad. Incidentally, vitamin K is used to counteract rat poison. And the reason we're using vitamin K supplements instead of using vitamin K from like soybean oil or another source is because vitamin K in soybean oil, generally speaking, gets destroyed by the fluorescent lights of the store. So that's why we're using these. I'm just popping them open, squeezing them a little bit, rolling them between my fingers and getting it out. So there we go, 7 of those. Mixed in there with that. That is all the measuring we have to do. So I'm just going to stick a lid on this. And agitate it really good. Shaking it doesn't do anything. You have to kind of do a turning, churning action. My favorite part. And that's to tumble it over and over again. A lot of people have expressed concerns that this doesn't mix it thoroughly, but I've been doing this for 6 months and it works really well. Before I used to put it in individual bags, like each day, and I could never get them mixed properly within a day. Inside of a week, you're getting everything you need. If you put, well, in some of my other mixtures, I've put stevia. It was 1/4 of a teaspoon mixed with, it was about 1.5 gallons worth of powder, and it would evenly distribute the stevia just fine. You wouldn't taste anything weird with one or the other. When I used to do it with individual bags, sometimes I would get one that was really salty, one that had a lot of sweetener in it, one that was bitter because it had too much of the calcium and whatnot. So mixing it all up together as a week, it just works a lot better. If you don't want to, that's fine, don't. If you have reservations, that's fine too, but this works really good for me. And anyway, another reason why you might want to do it as a week at a time, and why I suggest this is because some of the ingredients like the calcium phosphate and the choline bitartrate, it only calls for 2 grams a day. And if you are measuring out a single day at a time, to get precisely 2 grams is actually really hard to do. Whereas 14 grams, yeah, that's easy. So, I've had this all mixed up. It's ready to go. I'm just going to stick it in a Ziploc bag because I like to keep them in the Ziploc bags because store's easier that way and it's easier to get stuff out of them too. With a spoon to shake it out, and voila, I got a week's worth of food right there.